Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Film Business Show. This is a really awesome episode that's going to hopefully give you some insight on close-ups as well as patience in a film. Okay? Please follow us, like, subscribe. It really does help us out. And in the comments, let us know what you think. It always helps us out. Without further ado, here we go. Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver is one of the best films. It's another Robert De Niro special. It's something that you should watch if you're a filmmaker. Especially if you call yourself a cinephile. Come on, man. It's another Martin Scorsese. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. You need to watch this film. Taxi Driver is more of the story of a man and dealing with loneliness. Now, the male situation of feeling like you have no purpose is a disease among humanity that we are starting to notice more and more take its effect on the current state of the world. It's a hard thing that, with this film, you get to see more of a self-destructive form that turns into an outward homicidal event. It works out in the end, but it is something that shows the danger of taking a person and not allowing them to have a real purpose. Dead-end jobs, these kind of dirty, grimy positions that you just work with the ceiling is very, very low on them. You can't really move up anywhere. There's no real appreciation or self-worth or really any care as far as the industry doesn't care about you. You are making money for somebody else, and they're going on yachts and they can spend their life and do whatever they want, and you're just having to you're just turning in that meat grinder. That's all that you're doing. This film goes into a character that serves the country and comes out with a lot of mental problems, a lot of issues, and instead of being able to resolve those issues and move forward with those issues, he turns them into this self-destruction of work, and that eventually leads to him trying to find senses of meaning for his life. Most males and most people will try to then move out to a relationship, which is what he does. However, he has the same kind of complex as he did as Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull, which is the goddess complex. And explaining that again, that is, you either see the woman as untouchable, godlike, angelic, she's a goddess, she's everything that you ever desire, or you see them as a whore, dirty, scummy, they're just whatever, they're pieces of trash. This film sees a woman and he goes out and she actually does take interest in him, but he kind of doesn't know how to connect with her, doesn't know how to break away from this feeling of loneliness, from this insomniac expression, from just his loss in connection to reality and connection to the world. And so when he loses out on her, now he's left with really nothing. Finding more scumbags and more of this negativity around, he ends up running into a very, very young prostitute and decides that he's going to kill her pimp. He's going to free her from the holds of this really, really bad guy. When he does kill this pimp, he ends ready to die himself. He's over with life. He doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. He doesn't want to be anywhere near any of this stuff. He's just done. But it ends up giving him a purpose, and he is actually rewarded and appreciated by the people instead of what he thought was going to happen, which he was going to die when he went out to go and commit this heinous act. With this film, and what we're going to discuss is the framing, and it's the framing of the close-ups. Now, the close-ups, and they're used with macro lenses at points where it is abstract, very engaging, as well as translucent, psychedelic kind of feeling of crossing your frames over. Film dissolves, cross dissolves, these different things that really kind of meld the images together and play with the lights and the shadows. Lights and shadows are very, very useful to a filmmaker, especially when you're trying to pass time and you're trying to show a engagement through the story of a character that's kind of losing the sense of time. This is an easy way to kind of pull those things together, throwing in your lines of diagonal with the green lights as he passes by when he's driving the taxi. Those different elements are recognizable because we've all been driving cars, we've sat in cars, and we've looked up and seen the light reflection as we go by. We've all had those long nights where we're driving in the car and you're just kind of enthralled a little bit with the lighting, or you're ignoring it completely and you're just trying to get to where you're going. And that kind of situation is really promoted in this film throughout his entire life, as he's trying to figure out where he's going to go. He's just living and moving and searching for purpose, searching and searching, but everything kind of looks the same. Now, when we go into the relationships that he runs into as a taxi driver, now he, as far as who he is a very interesting and quirky and weird character. He's got a lot of problems, a lot of mental instability, and things that he needs worked out. However, and deals with a lot of that loneliness aspect. It's just this self-destructive feeling and mentality that these people get a hold of. But another situation is his view of the world is mostly that of a witness. And notice that whenever he is by himself, it is usually shot more than likely in close-ups, right? Now, when he is engaging something that's interesting or engaging something that has changed something about him, where he is now feeling a witness. Now, this is a witness to himself in the mirror when he was getting the weapon and looking at himself. You're talking to me, you're talking to me. And he's trying to prepare himself for this next change in his life, cutting his head, all that kind of stuff. And then that ends up switching to close-ups, which is showing him more. But every time we see a close-up, it is more of an internal look, whereas it is him. It is how he truly feels. Whereas when we see, maybe more likely than the 35mm shot, where it's more of that cinematic wide 2-shot, 3-shot, whatever it is, even the medium shots that are a little bit wider, he is now witnessing something exterior. Now this goes back into his meeting in the car with that one passenger that was watching his wife cheat on him in another apartment. That whole situation played with an element of silence. Now this film requires you to have patience. It is a slow kind of drop, and it really exposes and builds that tension. And as that tension goes through, you can see that this character is super uncomfortable with pretty much everything as it's going on. He's attempting and trying to connect. He's trying to find his purpose, his placement in the world, and he's missing it. It's not working out. He is meeting politicians. He is meeting this woman. He's meeting these other people. He's trying to have conversations with the people that he works with. And they all kind of lead down to a bad ending. It doesn't work out. It doesn't go the way he thinks it's going to go. Or it's just not as glamorous as he was hoping it would be. And he doesn't really even know what he's looking for, why he's looking for it. But each of these conversations, they take a bit of patience. And it's because he does not know how to talk. And so as we are sitting there as an audience, we are trying to find the same thing he is, as he's trying to find a good end to the conversation. But he can't do it. So this is a witness to us being able to play with the patience of pausing. You can extend your frame, you can extend your time for the movie, which if you're making a feature film, you know how much time it actually takes, but you want those period of pauses so that the audience can think a little bit, especially when it's a film that is so internal, or is a film that is going to pay off in the end, is going to show something that they're not expecting. You're leading up to a twist, you're trying to build a tension, and you're trying to expose something that most people might not understand. And so if you're exposing kind of an alien element to it, you're going to want to take your time with these things. You can use this with playing music. You can use this with taking pauses where the character is trying to understand what is exactly going on. And you can use this with an element of them talking in increments. That gives the audience time to really connect with what they're saying, instead of just blurbing out all this information back to back to back to back to back, and then hoping that your audience is paying enough attention that they can lock onto it. You're also bombarding them with the same information so that they start to get used to it, so that once the character changes and the game is now switched, you can enjoy that part and you can understand why it happened. With something that is alien, with something that is foreign, with something that you are trying to introduce to an audience, it is a thought to take your time with it. And this film really shows that. And another element is, if you have somebody that is different from everybody else, well, the best ways to make them different is to be close with them. Being in their personal space, being a part of them, and seeing them from angles that most people don't see. Because imagine, how many people have you really seen where you get up in their face and look at their eyebrows and the way they form and all that kind of stuff? It's a very intimate space. And so allowing your audience to be in that intimate space and not be uncomfortable, or maybe even making them uncomfortable, can really assist your story and make it super interesting and unique. So think about that. So that was just the point in the direction, another one to say, hey, you should study this one, right? Taxi Driver, starring Robert De Niro. You should really watch this film. It's going to help you out, especially if you were doing a film that is a little bit more different, more unique, and darker. the aspect of going personal into a personal relationship with oneself and trying to discover who somebody is to themselves, this film is one of the best ones to study if that's what you're going to be making. So, thank you as always, everybody. And please follow us on Danger Dog Productions at YouTube, on Facebook, and go to dangerdogproductions.com to see the different things that we're doing, all the stuff that we're coming out with. And it's a place where you can support us and put treats in the Danger Dog's ball. And I'm telling you, woof woof, he digs it. So, thanks everybody. Appreciate you.